Hey there guys, welcome back to another video. So tonight we're going to discuss the preparation of my rear subframe for my entry-level E46 race car. We're going to discuss certain bushings that need addressing and other things that you could potentially upgrade while the subframe is dropped. These modifications will also yield good results for your daily driven street E46 car. So let's get right into it. Okay, and here is my rear subframe for my E46 build. Right off the bat, the subframe itself is a modified stock subframe. We're gonna work our way in the middle. We're gonna work our way out to discuss the subframe as a whole. So the subframe is actually a modified subframe using parts from Seems Legit Garage. If you guys know, the OEM non-M3 subframe has a big single mount right here, which bolts to this on your differential. What that yields in, not very ideal torquing methods. It actually results in the subframe torquing in an X pattern. That's why you commonly see this subframe mount cracking and this one cracking on non-M cars, because it's being torqued in an uneven fashion. So it Seems Legit Garage engineered a weld-on kit where you weld on these two ears right here. You go ahead and you cut this mount off right here, and then they supply you with a sandwich plate, which I went ahead and painted so it wouldn't corrode. This will then bolt between the differential housing and the cover. It will bolt between the diff cover and the differential housing itself. And you can also reuse the original bolts because they're long enough. Once this is mounted into your differential, it'll go in and it will mount to these tabs here. And then you can also upgrade the front mounts here to solid, like these ones are. What that does is it brings the subframe back to an even torque for all 4 points versus the one side ripping down at all times and coming back up. I'll put a link in the description for the subframe reinforcement kit. You're going to see that the advertisement photos is actually this subframe. This is the subframe itself from those photos. That's pretty cool. Mike sent me this years ago. I bought it off him. This is his old original setup before he went to a Ford 8.8 rear end. I'm also going to be swapping to a 346 rear diff for my race car. That's why this one isn't mounted in yet. This is just a stock 307. But that's how that setup works. We also have the rev shift polyurethane bushings here. I believe they're 85A softness. Now, working our way out, we have the stock upper control arms. I tore this apart and I cleaned everything real quick and put it all back together because it was really dirty. So I did a quick clean. Looks a lot better than what it did. Stock upper control arms, new spring shims here. And then we go to these bushings here. A quick upgrade for non-M3 cars would be to use this style bushing because it is a rotating style. You can put that top and bottom. They're exact same size, same dimensions. You literally just buy 4 so you can do all 4 points. The E46 M3 has that from factory. Non-M3s, they have a solid bushing down here. So going to the oscillating style, top and bottom, the spherical style bushing, it allows for better road feel and better handling and control. We also went ahead and upgraded the camber arms to adjustable. A lot of companies make them. These are just, honestly, they're like mid-grade. Not the cheapest, not the most expensive, but they're mid-grade. A lot of people make them, a lot of suppliers for them. They're adjustable camber arms versus the OEM thin metal. They call them salad tongs. Right here's one. In the last video or the video before that, I discussed this being weak on purpose for a fuse for this rear subframe axle carrier setup. BMW wants this to snap first before any vital components, so this was designed weak on purpose, but they're so thin they rot out and break all the time. So for a track car, we go straight to adjustable camber arms, which are thicker. We also went ahead and swapped to a sport suspension rear sway bar because it is thicker compared to an OEM non-sport package sway bar. Okay, and then we're going to discuss now the bushings which go into the body. This is the most important bushing for this rear subframe setup, okay? This is just known as an R tab, rear trailing arm bushing. It's a big rubber bushing, typically, which goes in here. That one can actually mess with your toe, and it can create a lot of deflection issues if it's still the OEM rubber ones, especially for a track car. So we're going to go ahead and discuss what R tabs I'll be running in this setup. They're back on my parts table. We'll check them out right now, and I'll also show you a video of me installing them, and also a video of me pressing these ones out will also be within this video, so you can see how this tool works. And here's our upgraded bushing from none other than Jackal Autosport. We'll discuss them very quickly after I show you the demo of why we upgrade from this bushing to something like this in the first place. So my vise right here is a rear chilling arm from a 325 CI, had roughly 122,000 miles on it. So the amount of play in these bushings is pretty chaotic if you actually take a look at them. So we're going to have play side to side like this, barely any pressure on that. We're also going to have play sideways like this in that bushing. We're also going to have play lateral or parallel to the trailing arm itself, causing some toe issues. This as a whole is causing a lot of what they call deflection in the bushing because it's so soft and so much play, especially for a track car, even a street-driven car. These bushings are a problematic area. So these bushings here are not very ideal from factory even. There's a lot of play in these bushings. So we go to a bushing like this, once again from Jackal Autosport, which is a fairly new company in the E46 community, but they produce some really nice freaking quality parts here. These things are just straight beautiful. I'm going to feel terrible pressing them into the rear trailing arm. This is a fully aluminum R-tab, excuse me. And in the middle of it, we have a bushing similar to what I described earlier, the oscillating type. So they take a bushing like this and they custom machine it into a housing like this for you. This is going to yield in a lot less playback there, a lot less deflection, and a lot better road feel, which is going to be perfect for our little race car build. And even for a street-driven car, this should last you a lot longer than something like this. This is what they do when you press them out, too. They like to break on you. Then here's your snap rings, also install them for you. We're also going to discuss really quick their rear subframe reinforcement plates. They are very nice quality as well because they actually take a 3D scan laser tool. They 3D laser scan the bottom of an E46 to get you this nice fitment with a lot of coverage. I did have plates from Part Shops Max, I believe it was. They are way too thick. They are probably about half amount of coverage, and they did not fit worth a crap. So I had to find somebody else. I reached out to these guys, very friendly. I wanted to support them because they're just starting out. Very good price points too. Your typical fully aluminum R-tab bushing, the bearing styles, are over $200 easily, up in the 250s and 260 areas. This set right here, I believe, was $180 for both. That does both sides, and they're going to last me a very long time. And they actually produce a great road feel compared to the OEM rubber R-tabs. These plates, they also sent me version 1 and version 2 of the front. This is version 2. They're still working on it. They actually sent me this set to test out and to see how good they fit. So any kind of fitment issues, I'm going to report back to them. They're going to correct it and fix these. They'll fit like gloves. As far as these rear ones, they fit like freaking gloves back there. You'll actually see these be put onto the car in the next video discussing the subframe reinforcement, which is a very long and good discussion topic from me. I want to show you everything that you can do to help you prevent the failure from happening again, because this car actually had a pretty bad failure. So I'm going to fix it right the first time with the help of Jackal Autosport. Highly recommend these guys. We'll give them a shout out again in the next video. There will be a link in the description for their plates and for their R-tab bushings. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to install these into my trailing arms now. We're going to see how these things appear installed. I'm stoked. Let's get into it. So before I install this bushing, we have to remove our OEM rubber bushing, obviously. So before anything else, I'm going to show you this tool, which I showed you guys a few videos ago. I'm going to show you how easy it makes this job, how to remove the OEM and how to install any aftermarket R-tab bushing. It is now time to remove the primary rear trailing arm bushing from this trailing arm. I've already went ahead and did the opposing side. It came out very easily. So the last time you guys seen this tool, I was just talking about it. This time you're going to see it in action by removing this bushing here. So first order of business, we're going to remove this this bracket here using an 18mm socket, on a long ratchet, 18mm wrench. We're going to grab, this side has a nut on it, up here, like that. Put the ratchet on down there, and I'm just going to loosen up this bracket. Let the wrench bottom out on that bracket. There we go. Going to get this bolts out real quick. And here is the bracket off. Now's a good time to examine it for any kind of oblonging or misshapen discrepancies with it. It looks like it's pretty good shape here. I'm going to set this aside. You can also clean it up and repaint if you want, But here is the primary bushing. It's not in too bad shape. With the bracket on, though, I was able to move it a lot, so there's a lot of play in this bushing. It's very soft. Probably still the original from 2000, if I had to guess. Now, we go to our instructions. We're going to be removing that bushing, so very simple. We need, it looks like 1, 6, 7, 2, 3. So we're going to go ahead and set this thing up. Take our threaded rod in here. Put it through the bushing. That's going to then pull it through the arm. And this fork is going to go around the bushing, and it's going to grab the trailing arm itself. So this can now be forced right through. I'm going to start our nut on. Make sure the threads are okay looking. Nothing on the threads debris-wise. So we're going to thread this on. Make sure our tool is centered, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to press this thing out. I'll show you guys just how easy it is. Okay, now that the tool is set up nicely, double check, make sure we're nice and centered on the arm. We can come to the right some more, it looks like. We're pretty well centered on the bushing. Go ahead and fix that real quick here. That looks better. Yeah, like that. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and transition to a 19mm or 3/4 inch socket on our long-handled ratchet. I'm going to tighten down this nut. That tool should begin collapsing the rubber part of the bushing until it meets the outer metal shell. Still tightening, still tightening. It's going to go any second here. It's going to crack loose on us. There it goes. That nice, confident snapping sound. I'm going to switch hands now. And we're just going to keep on drawing this bushing out. Let me step on the trailing arm so it's anchored. There it goes. It's coming out like butter. Going to switch to our ratchet wrench here. Put this back. Get this rest of the way out. You're almost there. And this will just want to, there you go. It just split and came right out. And then there is your R-tab bushing. R-tab, yeah. But that is it. And then the reinstallation, we're just going to use the opposite tools now, the bigger cups, to simply press a new one in. All right, let's go ahead and work on getting the new Jackal Autosport bushings in. Okay, it's now time to install our Jackal Autosport R-tab into our trailing arm. I've already did the opposing side off camera to make sure everything went smoothly, and it did. So first things first, you want to prep the bore here. I use 80 grit sandpaper. I sand this out, you know, just like so. Make sure I get this outer ridge really good. Then I blow it out, make sure, do the whole thing with sandpaper. And then I use some acetone on a rag to get it really clean, because acetone is a great cleaning agent, even cleans off rust. So after I'm done sanding, I clean with acetone, sand again, acetone again, you know, make sure it's nice and clean. And then I go ahead and use grease in the bore. I use a full synthetic grease. This is Lucas Red and Sticky. This is a mixture I use here at the shop religiously. It is a mix of ATF, transmission fluid, and grease, 50-50 nearly. It makes a very nice paste, and you just use it for a lot of things. Lubricant, rust preventative, stuff like that. And then we have an additional pair of snap ring pliers to obviously install the snap ring on the back of the bushing once it goes in. Have a flathead screwdriver to help you position the snap ring a little easier. Snap rings can be a pain sometimes. As far as the orientation of this bushing into the trailing arm, this outer lip here is going to face outward, so it's going to be on the same side as the rotor, just like that. Then you're going to press it in, and once it's pressed in, you're going to snap on your snap ring, and that is done. There is one key note while pressing in this new R-tab. You're going to obviously follow the instructions for reinstallation of an R-tab. However, what I found best to do to avoid any damage to your new bushing is, you see how their spherical bushing, internal bushing, how it comes out, protrudes out. You don't want to damage that. So by simply taking the adapter to press in the bushing, it's designed to go on this way. They want this side to be flat on the bushing. That in return is going to actually hit the spherical bushing. You don't want to do that because you could potentially damage the boot or damage the bushing. So all I do is, very easy solution. You take this, flip it upside down, and that's going to go around that. It's not going to damage anything. Works really nice. The only downfall is, the reason why this is bored like this is designed for your O-ring on this with the bearing to snap in, because we know the nut rides on this bearing. It doesn't really hurt anything though. You're literally just flipping this over, doing the same thing, just not in the groove. And then that, in return, it will not damage the spherical boot. It'll sit right over top of it like that. Okay, everything's now set up. We have our tool set up now, once again with our pressing face flipped upside down, so the internal cup does not damage the internal oscillating bushing of the Jackal Autosport bushing. The rear cup is already naturally engraved deep enough, so you don't have to worry about that. Then, obviously, the bore is nice and clean, sandpaper, grease, acetone, everything. It's time to press in this new Jackal Autosport bushing. Now, once you get started a few millimeters or so, I like to measure and make sure I'm going in totally straight with a tape measure. I already checked it, and I'm going in totally nice and straight. So now you can continue on to press in this bushing. It should go in nice and smooth if you cleaned it out adequately. Use the ratchet, press it in. And the same as before, once it gets so deep, you can transition to your ratchet wrench. Almost there. Just about flush. That's it, baby. She's in. Now, loosen your tool up. Other way, dummy. Bam, there we go. That bushing is now pressed in. Going to disassemble your tool. Then we'll install the snap ring. Do not be alarmed if it is tight pressing these in, because these are made to fit very tight. They are precisely created to fit in here nice and freaking snug, so do not be alarmed if they're tight fitting. Put those back into our toolbox. And then there is the Jackal Autosport rear R-tab installed. Very nice. And now the snap ring has been installed. You really can't see it that well on camera, but I have the opening on the bottom down here. Just because I was envisioning with the opening up top, maybe that could be a channel for water and moisture to run down and just run, and maybe it'd want to run the diameter of this and maybe further corrode the trailing arm or something. So I just put the opening in the bottom, so now water could just run down and drip off if it came down to it. I don't know, I just overthink on weird things like that, so yeah, that's not really a necessity. Anyway, that is the installation of the Jackal Autosport R-tab into our trailing arm. Look at that thing. It's going to be amazing. Can't wait to drive it. Heck yeah. Well, guys, thank you for watching. As you've seen, that was my subframe for my E46 build. It's nothing over the top, but it has some nice modifications done to it that should implement the performance well on the track and street. So, once again, huge shout out to the companies Jackal Autosport and C Legit Garage. Once again, links in the description for both these companies. Great parts at great prices. As for now, I'm going to head out of here. I'm going to go home and make this video and do some packaging for my orders. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. And be on the lookout for the subframe reinforcement video. It's going to be very well detailed as per usual. Very good video coming up on that. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Catch you later.